Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is the first video that I'm doing, especially on camera, so please forgive the quality. I know it's going to be amateurish at best. But the main topic that I wanted to address is what's happening with all of these secret lairs, Walking Dead, and to do it from the perspective of somebody who's relatively new to Magic. I'm not new to trading card games or collectible card games in general. I've been playing them for almost my entire life, but specifically I've been playing Magic for about a year or so. So I wanted to give a new player's perspective because I think that specifically what's happening right now with this Secret Lair thing, it might be hurting the very thing that is attracting new players to Magic, which is supposedly the opposite of what Wizards wants to do, right? They want to have this crossover thing in order to attract new people to Magic. But as I'll explain in a minute, that might actually end up breaking some of the things that end up attracting people to Magic as well. So I think it'll be a net negative. So to start at the beginning, so I played, when I was a kid, I played a lot of Pokemon, the card game that is, and later on I moved on to a couple of digital card games. So there was a whole bunch of them that many of them don't exist anymore, like let's say Soul Forge or Might and Magic Duel of Champions, which was, by the way, really great, but again was killed by its own developers by making really poor decisions. And there were a couple of others, and then I spent a really long time playing Hearthstone. And one of the reasons that I really like Hearthstone was that it seemed stable. Unlike a lot of previous digital card games, it seemed like, well, Blizzard isn't going to let this thing just die. So Blizzard is kind of famous for essentially keeping games alive almost indefinitely, right? So, I mean, Diablo 2 servers are still up, right? So I felt safe that the game wouldn't just, die and disappear, into the cloud because, in a digital card game, all your stuff is on their servers, right? You don't have a physical game that you're playing. With Hearthstone, this wasn't really a problem because, as I said, Blizzard is famous for keeping their games alive for a very long time. But still, you don't have that security of having the physical game that you're playing. But they had a different problem. So clearly this was because they didn't have experience making card games. So in terms of balancing, when they had problematic cards, they did what they would do in other online games. They nerfed them. Right, and this went over really poorly, as you might imagine, right? So I still remember the first Doctor Doom nerf, all the fallout that came from that, and the reason people were pissed is that they had no real recourse, right? So in Magic, right? So if a card is really breaking, the meta, right? The most they can do is ban it from, that particular format, and there's a couple of Eternal formats where those cards can still be played. Nobody's actually taking away your cards or using a Sharpie to get rid of the property that's happens to be meta breaking, and they're not going to change the mana cost because Wizards, for example, with Arena, they want to keep complete parity between Arena and paper Magic, so they're not going to change the cards. Whereas with Hearthstone, they just kind of figured they could balance it like if they could balance anything else in terms of their online games. They just changed the stats. And this was really frustrating because, yeah, they let you, disenchant the cards, so essentially break them down for the crafting resource so you can craft something new, but they wouldn't compensate you for example, all the other cards that you've crafted to go into that deck that was now essentially unplayable with the nerfed centerpiece of that deck. So I left Hearthstone for that reason amongst a couple of others, but mainly that one. And this brings me to why I started playing Magic, because I thought, well, at least in Magic, right, if especially if you're talking about the paper version, right, so you've got the cards. Nobody can take them away from you. Nobody can change them, right? All they can do is say, okay, well, you can't play it in this and that format at, let's say, a local game store. But, among friends, you can do whatever you want, and there's, as I said, a couple of formats where you can play even with the banned cards. Pretty much, at least as far as I'm aware, almost nothing gets, completely banned everywhere, right? I think the worst that a card has gotten is like the Power 9, where they're, restricted to one-offs, right? But again, you can still play them, right? And with a physical product, at the very least, you can sell the cards or trade them to somebody else who's happy to keep them, right? If you don't want them anymore. Whereas with a purely digital game, right, they can do whatever you want, and you have no recourse. So that's pretty much what brought me to Magic. Now, I've been moving around a lot, so as I've gone through college, I played those digital games for that reason, because I didn't have to lug a card collection with me. I could simply log onto my computer and play. This has been also a plus with Magic Arena, right? That's available right now. So that meant that I could try it out, learn the game mechanics, see if I like them, see if I enjoyed the game. And I could do that essentially for free, because Magic the Gathering Arena has a free-to-play model, so you can try it out, see if you like it. That's one of the reasons that I didn't want to try Magic the Gathering Online, because you still have to buy everything, right? As far as I know, they don't really have a free-to-play model that you could use as a trial period. But I am primarily interested in the paper product because, as I said, I like that security. But of course, the Arena model is quite convenient when you can't make it out to a game store, or you can't meet up with somebody, and especially during the times when we're supposed to be social distancing and all of that, this is a really good opportunity for you to play Magic the Gathering Arena. Now, remember, the reasons that I found Magic to be attractive was this security that the company that's making the game, they've been in business for a long time, right? It's been like 30 years now, right? They won't screw it up. They won't screw it up. Let's say Blizzard screwed up Hearthstone, right? Because again, I feel like they did it out of inexperience. Similarly, because there is a paper component, that means that no matter what happens, let's say the company goes out of business, right? I can still play with the cards that I have, right? The game didn't disappear. Whereas, for example, with Might and Magic Duel of Champions, which I also was really into and I really loved. I think it's might be still my favorite mechanically card game, but it died because the company made Ubisoft, I think, was the publisher. They made really bad decisions. The community hated it. A lot of players left, and the game died until the publisher decided it wasn't worthwhile to run the servers anymore, and they pulled the switch, and the game is dead. So these were the reasons that I came to Magic. Now, with the Secret Lair stuff, essentially what they're doing is they're screwing with this formula, right? They're taking something that players have come to expect, right? That whatever cards are, the chase cards, the cards that everybody wants to play with, that, you can get them in the regular product. So the problem with the Secret Lairs is that when Wizards is putting now desirable cards into a very specialized product that's only available for a limited amount of time in, not limited quantities, because obviously they're going to print as many as people order, but limited in the sense that, well, if you didn't order it during this week, right, or, for whatever reason, right, it's not available in your country maybe, or maybe the shipping is too expensive, you missed out. And then those cards then become limited as soon as that, sales period ends. And the prices are going to go up because people obviously are going to speculate on them. They're going to sit on a whole bunch of them, and they'll be essentially unavailable to the vast majority of players. So it's essentially a new reserve list, except that the reserve list was done, with the motivation of, doing something for the players, to make players feel like their, the money that they've put into their, card collections was more or less secure, right? This is a very anti-player measure, right? It's making people less secure because, once they do this, this time, they can easily do it again. I mean, they've said that, they're going to stop doing the mechanically unique buy box promos, but then they just do this. So what's to stop them from, either doing more Secret Lairs just like this, or finding, some other limited time product to put desirable cards in, and essentially take advantage of the fact that people are afraid of missing out, right? It's a very real psychological effect, and I think it's not good for building trust in the company. And essentially, if trust in the company collapses, people are going to leave, or at the very least, people who might have entered Magic will think twice about it, right? So if I was entering Magic right now with all this, what storm brewing, I probably wouldn't do it, right? A year ago, everything seemed, more or less stable. The only, controversial thing was the introduction of the collector boosters, which, not a huge fan of because they seem to make mythics and foils feel a little bit less special, but it's nowhere near as bad as this. And I feel like, especially at a time when they're putting out a lot of good products, right? I feel like the 2021 starter set is a lot better than the previous years. The set boosters, I think, are a great idea. They're probably what collector boosters should have been, right? And the commander decks that came out with Zendikar Rising, and Zendikar Rising itself, putting in these valuable box toppers, great idea, right? So there's lots of good products, lots of good ways, or rather fair ways to spend some money on Magic the Gathering and not feel bad about it. And now with the Secret Lair stuff, there's only 2 days left, right? I'm not going to order it, but obviously a lot of people have already ordered and might still order it. I could tell people, I don't think you should do it, but who am I, right? What can I say that hasn't already been said regarding the idea of boycotting this product? Now, I'm not going to buy it. I hope not too many people will, and I hope that the people who are going to try to scalp these, right, so are going to put in large orders and then try to sell them for exorbitant prices on the secondary market, I hope they get burned, because it's not great what they're doing, because they're sending the wrong signal to Wizards, right? Because from Wizards' perspective and the parent companies, from Hasbro's perspective, right, if it sells, it's good. And if it's good, that means they're going to keep doing it. So I hope that this experiment more or less fails for them, and I hope that they learn the correct lesson, which is that they can't do things that reduce the trust of the community in their ability to run the game. Because once that happens, people are going to start to leave. People who are thinking about joining won't join, and then it's all downhill from there. So, as I said, as somebody who's seen a number of these games die due to mismanagement, I hope that doesn't happen here. So I hope that the community is able to apply enough pressure that if this thing must happen, that at least it's hopefully going to be a one-off. Or at least that they're going to have to do some damage control and maybe print game equivalents that are, within the Magic IP, right? That aren't related to the Walking Dead, and put them in regular products. So I hope that happens. But as I said, the nice thing about a paper product is that, well, we have the cards we have. We can keep playing with the cards we have. And with all this stuff about the Captain format, I mean, that failed. But if you think about it, all that they said was that, well, we don't have to allow these cards if we don't want to, right? In our play groups, we can simply say, you're not allowed to play with them. And I think that's a really great option. So I hope that it all works out, and I'll probably do more videos about Magic the Gathering and watches. Incidentally, you might have noticed that the channel is named Decks and Dials, because those are the two hobbies that I want to talk about on this channel, right? So card collecting and watches. And card collecting, I don't just mean Magic the Gathering, but just cards in general. I'm a big fan. So subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope that you do, and I hope to see you soon, and I hope that it won't be under such under a cloud of controversy as it is right now. So I'll try to talk about more positive things, about good products that Wizards is putting out. And if you're only here for, let's say, the Wizard stuff, I hope you'll stick around, and maybe I'll get you interested in one of these other hobbies like watches and collecting custom playing cards. So, as I said, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.